You need to sit in front of the mirror and ask yourself, am I just throwing tantrums? Am I just being a child? Is this painful? You know what pain is. Doctors will ask you in the hospital on a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is your pain? You should be able to tell. We all know what abuse is. You should know what your spirit can take. If the children of Israel stayed there, they will never know a Canaan, because you will deal with it in a very angry and bitter way. Before you become bitter, walk away. And the Lord will walk with you. Nigeria itself is going through abuse. There are certain things that should not be happening. So it's not just in the home. I sincerely and seriously stand against it. God sent Moses back. He withdrew his people from the hands of their slave masters. And God was waiting for them. Of course, when you come out of abuse, there's going to be a wilderness experience. But in that very wilderness, the Lord is waiting. You will experience the greatest revival of all time. Sometimes your abuser might be your helper. It's still not an excuse to keep sticking your neck. Oh yes, the Egyptians were helpers to the Israelites. But when they were being abused, oh no, they cried unto God and God heard them. Do you realize that how they escaped, everything that they needed was provided by God? In fact, they had not the chariots and the horses, save for the rod in the hand of
to make posters and paste.
Yes.
This the essence of Navigate with FFA. People see you all made, but they don't know what you've been through. Thank you for being vulnerable tonight and sharing this with us. If not for time. So I need to move to the next question, which I always ask my guests. What is your view about domestic violence or domestic abuse? Psychological, financial, whatever, physical, for men and for women. And do you believe in women empowerment? Should a woman be empowered, or a woman should just sit down and be chopping the husbands? These two questions, please.
Okay. As regards domestic violence or abuse, it's two ways. I love the fact that you expatiated on it. In Africa and in Nigeria especially, we believe that the only time you are abused is when somebody eats you. But it goes deeper than that. Whatever you are doing too much, and it's weighing down on the psychological fitness, the health of the other person, the total well-being of your partner, is an abuse. And I stand against it any day, anytime. I do not believe that anybody deserves that kind of life, because let me tell you, it is very, very hazardous to our health. It's very hazardous to the sanity of our society. A lot of bitter women are products of abuse. A lot of bitter men are products of abuse. You can only exude what is being put into you. If you are constantly being put down by a man or a woman, whichever way, probably he's eating you or she's eating you, or talking down at you, or taking over your finance, or doing all sorts of things to put you down. When you are coming out, you are going to be acting in such a manner that people will know something is wrong with you. In your workplace, you will not deliver the way you should. You won't be a good part of our society. So nobody deserves it. Our God is a good and is a gracious God. If religion makes you feel like you need to do it, well, Jesus Christ is beyond religion. The Holy Spirit cuts across. God speaks to everybody. So don't you think that standing up for yourself and saying no to abuse is going to make God run away from you? No. Do you remember that when Moses stood up for his people, and eventually in the process, a murder was committed? That is how bad it was, because he stood up against enslavement, against slavery, against abuse. He ran away. And I'm sure he was running away from everything and God himself. But God was following him quietly. As he was running into exile, God was following him. So I need you to know that God is with you. Come rain, sunshine. Don't you let anybody hold you down and say, because you said no more, God is no longer with you. God is for all. God is a universal president. It's for everybody, black, white, green, all sorts of colors, all sorts of codes. He understands you. Mind you, let me remind you that Moses was learning magic. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. All he knew was magic. That's all he knew. And then the God of Israel needed to speak to him because God understands that nobody deserves to die in abuse. And God went to him in the burning bush because that was the experience he knew about. And how was God going to get his attention? In the burning bush. God became his friend, his partner, gave him power, empowered him. He went back, delivered his people from abuse. See, Nigeria itself is going through abuse. There are certain things that should not be happening. So it's not just in the home. I sincerely and seriously stand against it. God sent Moses back. He withdrew that, his people, from the hands of their slave masters, brought them out into a free land, and God was waiting for them. Of course, when you come out of abuse, there's going to be a wilderness experience, like for the children of Israel. But in that very wilderness, the Lord is waiting. You will experience the greatest revival of all time, and you will see the living God. God bless you. And then let's talk about women empowerment.
Just before you move from that, prophetess, because a lot of questions, they're just bombarding you with questions. So if I'm in an abusive relationship, should I leave or should I stay? Now you said it's not only physical. Should I leave or should I stay? People are asking a lot of questions that I don't want to read out, but I just want to summarize because some of them are talking about your marriage and I don't want to go into that. Navigate is not about that, even though I don't want to ignore them. But can you just say, well, should I stay if I'm being abused, even if it's not physical?
You see, sometimes, as human beings, we can tell ourselves the truth. You cannot judge your relationship or what you are going through. Are you sure you are experiencing abuse? Then if you are experiencing abuse, I don't see reasons why you should die being abused. I need to be very factual about this. I need to tell you this because you know why? You carry a destiny first. Before you got into the relationship, see, your boss may be abusing, your boss may be he may be very, very narcissistic in nature. Why must you keep working there? If you trust God to give you another good paid employment, because at the end of the day, you will get nowhere. In Yoruba, we say, it's not possible. Every time, that's the meaning of abuse, you try to raise your head. The harvester will bring your head down. So do you want to stay? And when it gets to the peak of it, you will know. See, sometimes what we call abuse could be challenges. But you know when you are being abused, you are going to know. You'll be losing yourself. You will know this is not you anymore. Your light will be going dim gradually. People around you will notice. You will know by yourself that, okay, sometimes you try to talk to your partner and work things out. But if it's not working, my dear brother and sister, let me explain to you in this way. If it gets too much, it ends in murder, like in the case of Moses. Because you will deal with it in a very angry and bitter way. Before you become bitter, walk away. And the Lord will walk with you. Before it gets to the point that anger will surge from within. Do you know how long the children of Israel has been in Egypt? Sometimes your abuser might be your helper. It's still not an excuse to keep sticking your neck. Oh yes, the Egyptians were helpers to the Israelites. But when they were being abused, oh no, They cried unto God, and God heard them. Do you realize that their escape, how they escaped, everything that they needed was provided by God? In fact, they had not the chariots and the horses, save for the rod in the hand of Moses, and the Lord was with them, and he saved them. So you can know, if you are a child of God, you have a privilege to talk to the Holy Spirit. You need to sit in front of the mirror and ask yourself, am I just throwing tantrums? Am I just being a child? Is this painful? You know what pain is. Doctors will ask you in the hospital on a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is your pain? You should be able to tell. We all know what abuse is. You should know what you can, what your spirit can take. If the children of Israel stayed there, they will never know a Canaan. So that is it for me. And those talking about my marriage, this isn't about me. As a preacher, you make nothing about yourself. And I can't see the questions. I don't know what you're asking me, but just know that I've anchored in Jesus. The storms of life have break. So I have an anchor, and the ship is standing firm. God is able. Don't worry.
God bless you. That's just fine. Thank you very much.